You see these kicks? These kicks were dirty. They were beat up. I couldn't wear them. But I got in contact with Lara Murchie at 537 Shawmut Ave, the fashion center, and he brought these beauties back to life. Get in touch with him if you need your kicks clean, your furniture done, your purses done. It ain't called the fashion center for no reason. At 537 Shawmut Ave in historic South Boston. Just tell him your boy said ya. Peace. What is going on, good people? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Say That Podcast. And y'all know my motto, don't say this, say that. I want to thank everyone who tuned in my last episode with Harvard's Eye and the rest of the OCH. It was a hilarious convo, also insightful. If you didn't hear it, go tune in now. It's on the YouTube, Apple, and Spotify podcast. And as always, please follow me on Instagram, REPETE617, and the pod page, Shay_that_pod. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know, we're in November. We're entering the fourth quarter of 2024. And if you've seen the platform's guests over this last year, you've seen there's been a lot of guests who have been frequenters of one studio in Massachusetts, the Sound Lab. A lot of love to those people down there. I've had Devo, MCI Flow, Noble, Ernest, and I'm going to have a cast of others next year. But today, we got one of the geniuses, you know, to go along with Devo from there. We got literally one of the most talented people you will ever meet. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give it up for Samba. What is going on, my man?
Thanks, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
That was a fire intro.
I tried, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful for these guests that come on here, so I want to make them feel, you know, thankful for being here.
I appreciate
shit, you
that.
know what I mean? Of course.
Genius is a big claim, so, you know, hopefully I can live up to that for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, to start it off, bro, you know, because before these episodes, I like to do a lot of research.
Word.
I like to make sure I'm asking the right questions. I like to make sure, you know, we're talking about the right stuff. But one thing that blew my mind was like, you're only 20 years old.
Yeah.
First of all, like I was like, okay, that's insane. And you're nominated now for Songwriter of the Year at the BMAs.
Yeah.
At just, you know, the ripe age of 20 years old. How does that feeling for you?
It was definitely, I didn't expect it. Going into this year, that was not even my plan at all. Because I don't really know what made me qualify for that. That's the thing about it, because it's such a specific category. Mm-hmm. So, but definitely like that nomination made me feel good. Like it made me feel seen for sure. I've only really been, because I came to the Sound Lab March of 2023. So
really?
I haven't been around for that long. Like this is really like my first, year, like really being around. So,
because with all the work you do, I would have thought you're been there for like your whole life pretty much or something like that. You know what I mean?
Sure. Because I had a studio when I was younger, so I've always kind of been doing the thing, but never really took it serious.
Yeah.
But definitely like waking up to that, I remember because I had fallen asleep at the studio that night, and I woke up and I seen my phone, like, damn, that's fire. Devo comes in the room, yokes me up like, yo, congratulations. Like it felt good, especially to have like that many nominations come out of the lab from all the stuff that we did. It felt great. It felt great, but nah.
Because, I mean, from the lab alone, you know, Devo's been nominated for 2. Producer of the Year and Album of the Year. Rightfully so, Album of the Year, because Champion Sound was phenomenal. C-Dub obviously is back in the running for Podcast of the Year. Shout out Nicole. You know, that's the one I was happy for.
Nah,
I was happy for a lot of them.
Happy.
That made me really happy, because she deserved that shit. You know what I'm saying? I've been seeing her put in the work like that, so she definitely deserves it.
She does so much for everybody.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I mean, nobody even says, bro, she's everyone's auntie. You know?
Nah, for real.
Like, legit, I can tell. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, she did basically
because I don't frequent, you know, the Sound Lab a lot, but just from, you know, viewing everybody's stories and stuff like that, 100%.
It's Nicole.
Shout out Nicole, man.
But yeah, that definitely, it was cool. Though the thing about it, I didn't realize like how big of a deal it was per se. Because for me, I'm like,
definitely
whatever. Like, cause I went there last year. That was my first time going to the BMAs when we won last year. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. The DMs changed.
Oh yeah,
the DMs definitely changed.
Yeah.
I'm like, word.
Yeah,
I see the vibe now.
Once you get an accolade, you know, because people add weight to the BMAs as they will. You know, it very varies on how you treat it. Some people, you know, I know plenty of people like absolute legends from like the scene that don't really care. I personally, you know, it would just be nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's nice to feel recognized, like you said. It's nice to feel seen. So when you get something like that, you know, you hold it with the weight you want to carry it with. And I think, you know, seeing everybody excited that they were nominated, seeing their friends excited, that's special.
Yeah.
You know, it is special because, you know, all these other states have their own scenes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like Boston's, it's ours. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to make it like, we're going to gas it up. We're going to make it ours type of shit. You know what I mean?
I was definitely special. Yeah, nah. I'm a sore loser. So I'm very big. I'm like, all right, like the nomination is cool, but I gotta win for me to like really feel the type of way. So I'm trying not to really like get in my head too much about it. But yeah, just do what I got.
You already got my vote, and I've told a lot of people who to vote for
that.
the BMAs. So
I appreciate
you ain't gotta worry about that. But one thing that I did ask around about you, your first ever performance was at Jingle Ball at the TD Garden.
Yeah.
I gotta know. So how old were you for that, and how did that opportunity come up for you?
I was, let me see, that's last Christmas. So I was 19.
19. Okay, so that's
I was 19
pretty
at the
recent.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the second question?
Like how did that come up for you? Like how'd you end up on that stage? 'Cause that's a big stage. You know what I'm saying?
It's a long, crazy story, but to sum it up, trying to think what I can say. Basically, there was a competition called Open for an Icon, and I happened to get the drop on it because somebody I knew the person who was heavily involved with that. So I ended up submitting my thing. Jokingly, like I did this like little video, like, hey, y'all vote for me, and it ended up working out. So yeah, ended up getting the spot on there. It was wild. It was wild because my homie just walks in the room one day. I'm in the studio. He's like, yo, you want to perform? I'm like, what are you talking about? Goes out, comes back. Yeah, get ready. we doing TD Garden. I'm like, I don't really believe him.
Yeah.
The votes come through. Whatever happened. You get on that stage. Yeah, it was wild.
Definitely intimidating, I could imagine. But
yeah,
it's good that you already got that under your belt, though. You know what I mean? Because I don't see you perform often.
Yeah.
But when you're on no one at any age right now, 10, 15 years old, and you has a garden performance under their belt. Yeah. So I think that's very important, and I think that's gonna really like progress your performing style when you do end up on these stages.
Yeah.
Because I could see you on like Fenway. I could see you on like House of Blues type of shit. It's starting to make it, bro. So
definitely like that was my goal. Like towards the ends of this year and like going into next year, performing more. Because I honestly like just going into this year was really when I started actually being like I'm gonna be an artist. Because I didn't really have the intention of doing that. Like if you look from like my music has been pretty sparse until we got to this year because
that is true. Because I was looking at your discography and you have Hat Trick plus the two. I want to make sure I'm saying the names of it right. It is the
Nightfall.
That's what I was saying. The Nightfall. I don't know why I said Midnight Hours, but you got those 3 EPs under your belt, and then it kind of went like one in 2023, and then like a couple 2022. So it's good that you're getting in the flow of that.
Yeah. I definitely because I just wanted to be a writer. Producing wasn't really a thing I was doing yet when I like first got around, but yeah, I really wasn't really focused on the artist thing. But I took a trip to Africa.
Oh wow!
And because that's where my family's from.
Yeah. What country?
My pops is Congolese and Angolan. My mom's Mozambican, so he went to Congo. Oh wow! Because I never met that side of my family before. Wow, that's cool. And like seeing how like people are living out there, like it really shifted my perspective. I'm like, yo, if I don't like take this serious, like I'm young too, so I'm like, yeah, like. I don't understand why I would try and play it safe. I have the, ability to do what I can do, and I have the resources, and I have the time. So I'm like, yeah, might as well just start pushing the agenda. And then obviously being around someone like a Devo who's like, put it out. Right. Put it out. Because I record a lot, and I make a lot of music, but I don't be putting it out. Because I be too like, oh, it has to be perfect. It has to be this. But I think definitely because you had mentioned Hat Trick, like that opened my eyes like, oh, nah. I'm nice. Yeah. I'm nice.
Nice with it. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Yeah, because we did that in one night.
Oh, yeah. I think you had mentioned that. Yeah, that's crazy.
So, like, we had just gotten Excuse Me played on the radio. Oh, shit. So that night we were like, let's just cook something.
Because that was my first introduction to you was Excuse Me.
That was a lot of people's. That was a lot of people's, honestly. So, doing that night we just cooked up 3 joints. Bang, like that. And then I was like, oh, can we, like, clean this up? He doesn't respond to me. He goes on his IG story, right? Screen caps one of the song, puts it up, and goes, yo, Samba's not trying to put it out. And then just send me DMs throughout the day of people being like, yo, he's tripping. Yo, put that out. I was like, all right, but you got it. So like seeing that, like, oh no, I can just do something, get it out. So that's all the nightfalls are. There's literally I would just make them, boom, put them out.
That's
Info,
awesome.
put them out.
That's awesome, bro. Salute to
Yeah,
that.
no.
Because when I, hear your music and then see that, you're nominated for Songwriter of the Year, I was like, oh, this guy like writes his shit.
Yeah.
Because, all respect to like the artists I know, a lot of them, I don't, they do the notes thing in the app, but I feel like it's so much more than that. You know what I mean? Like it's actually like crafting the story. It's actually like you said, because you're a perfectionist, making sure it's perfect. So when I hear you do that, from producing, making these R&B hits, it's like a 5-tool player in baseball.
Yeah.
That's when that term is like you play every position almost in a sense. So when I look at that and I compare it to you, I was like, yeah, this dude's a 5-tool player with music.
Word.
So I'm more interested in the fact, because you said, I've always been in music, but what made you kind of dive into the songwriting aspect of it?
So I started back when I was like 15. I was engineering first.
Okay.
One of my little homies, he knew another kid who was making music. His name's Craig. So he's like, oh, I'm about to go record this song with him. I'm like, all right, bet I'm gonna just come to the studio. I had always messed around with equipment, just growing up, because my sister, I was actually making music before I was. So I was always see her like go to the studio and stuff like that. I was interested in learning production, so I got the laptop.
Family business like that.
You know what I'm
All
saying?
right, that's what
I was trying to figure out how to produce and all that, but I never took it serious. I always had the laptop though, so I knew how to use like Logic.
Yeah.
We go to the studio, and the kid that you want to record it with needed to go in the booth. He's like, does anybody know how to do it? I was like, yeah, I got it. So from there, I started engineering. But whenever we would work, just kind of naturally, I would, say this, say that. Not really understanding what I'm doing, but I'm just like, well, that didn't sound good, so do this.
Yeah.
That didn't really hit like that. Try that. Or this hit, why not change it a little bit to say it like this or deliver it a little bit differently? When I got, and eventually I built my own studio in the home, and I was doing that, the same thing with people there. Still not doing it intentionally, but it was just something I was doing.
Yeah.
When I got to the lab, I started to understand, okay, well, this is a thing. Like, this is a role. There is a role for that within music. That's a songwriter. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So at first I was like, I'm gonna just do that. Like, I can just keep doing what I'm doing and then just boom, 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 because I'm nice at it. Yeah. And as far as songwriting for other people, I started taking that serious. I did Sonali's project around, I think it came out September, I want to say. And that was my first time sitting down with somebody and like front to back.
Wow.
Okay, boom.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this, do that, do that. So understanding, okay, this is what it is. And then understanding the business of it, publishing. I started to understand the business. I was like, okay, well, let's look at my favorite artists. All right, their biggest hit. Most people's like biggest song was not written by them.
Absolutely.
It was written by somebody else.
Somebody else, like a group of people, not just one person, like a legit like group.
And then you
of
look at people's finances in correspondence to that. The people who don't necessarily write a lot of their music have to stay on tour. To make that money back, because you're not making as much on your revenue from the music, because obviously streams are low anyway, but it's already, you're taking a way less chunk of the pie if you're not producing and if you're not writing it. Yeah. Someone like an Adele don't gotta perform as much. She don't gotta go on tour 21st because she wrote the stuff. So those are huge records, and she wrote it. So she's only 50-50, with her label and whoever is producing it. That's it. So I understand, like, all right, boom. Me writing not only gives me a chunk of all of my stuff, but anybody I work with, that's also boom, boom, boom. And if I keep doing that, the publishing just racks up more and more. So yeah,
wow,
that's really took my perspective. Just understanding the business of it, like, oh, well, this can be turned into that.
Yeah. Oh no, definitely, because, and even like production, like wise on people's songs, like it's 5 different people. It's not, and I don't, from talking to producers and stuff like that, I don't know how 5 people produce one song. Loops. You know what I mean? All right, okay.
Loops, and like, let's say for example, we're like, there's 4 of us in this room right now, right? So I pull up, we're like, oh, we're gonna cook up. We're all here. There's a laptop or computer here. I'll start something, and then you'll be like, oh, I'm gonna do the drums.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm gonna do the drums, and you'll be like, I don't know what to do with the snare. But he knows how to do the snare. So he's going to come in, he'll do the snare.
Okay.
That's how you'll end up with like 5, 6 different people.
I was going to say, cause that makes sense. Because, ever since like watching the Grammys or like even like looking at song credits, I'm like,
it's a list.
It's a list. It's a list. And I'm like, like I said, I've seen Devo do it. Shoutouts to Fear, I've seen him do it.
Yeah.
I seen John Glass, and I'm like,
where's the other people?
Well, that's what I mean. Where's everybody else? I'm like, so that's a good breakdown of that shit. I appreciate you for saying that. I also appreciate you for spinning that game a little bit right there. Because that's what a lot of people like. That's why I want and maybe it's the ability to actually do it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they just don't have that ability.
Yeah, that's true.
It is learning. It is, you can learn to do it, but I feel like to actually do it at the level that is required to, like you said, actually, go 50-50 on shit where you maybe not have to tour. You can just write somebody's songs. Like, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's like you have to be gifted with it.
Yeah,
And
I agree with that.
And many people are calling you like the prodigy in that type of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like straight out of Brockton, 508. Another mecca, I shouldn't say another, one of the mecca cities in Massachusetts for this music shit.
Yeah.
So
a lot of people don't know that too. That's a big point. A lot of people don't respect Brockton as far as like the music stuff.
Which is crazy, bro. Cause like,
if you know, you know.
Oh, 100%. That's why it's like, that's why you telling me that? I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So my question for you on that end is like, how does it feel to just contribute to that great music scene and actually do it extremely well? Not just like, oh, I make music, I'm from Brockton, but actually like, no, I make music and I'm from the 508. Like adding your name to that list that includes, Van Buren and the Sound Lab included. Just
it feels special. I'm only really now starting to feel like that. Like I didn't really feel like that for the longest time because there's imposter syndrome. Because I grew up looking for music within my city and looking for music within Boston. I remember going on YouTube in like 2015. I'm like 10 years old, so I'm going on because this is when I started getting interested. I'm going on YouTube, typing in rapper Boston, and then like I see like the 500 horses video from like Stiz, or like rapper Brockton, and like I remember seeing a video, the Sound Lab back when it was on Center Street, because it was more for like, it was a DJ school originally. Yeah. So they would do ciphers with the kids. Okay. And there's this unlisted video. It was a cipher with Monavelli, Luke Bars, and a couple other kids on there.
Oh shit.
And I remember watching this video like, this is here? Like this is here? Like seeing
I never knew that.
Or like a couple years later when like BTL and like Dita Flyers and DK and them started popping off, like watching that in real time. Because I'm in middle school when these songs are popping off.
Right.
I'm like, oh. So, and around that time is when I started getting into music. So I always kind of felt like the little homie in a sense. So it's kind of weird now being in this position where I'm like, people are respecting me as like a peer and not just as, the little guy anymore. Right. But it definitely feels good because I love my city, honestly. We get a lot of flack for a lot of stuff, but it's definitely good to be a part of something positive.
Of course. And that, just immersing myself, because I don't make music at all. I don't produce and stuff like that. I just do this. I'm more comfortable.
Which is
in this
rare.
Sense. Right. Because it's like, I'd rather just, I'd rather talk to somebody. You know what I mean? Like, I get, there's a lot of artists. There's a lot of rappers. So there's a lot of producers. And personally, I feel like, and this is no disrespect to anybody. If you doing what you're doing in a creative sense, do it to the max. But just from my experience of talking to people, seeing what goes on with the ones and twos and stuff like that, and just trying, manage the stuff that I'm doing because I'm still in grad school right now.
Word, that's fine.
So, I just love podcasts. And I feel like, that's my lane. I'm going to stick to it. But, hearing just and discovering the cities of Massachusetts, because I just thought it was just Boston. Because like you said, 2015, 500 horses, that was my introduction to Boston rap. Yeah. Was just Suffolk County. And I'm like, oh shit, like we got like rappers out there. I was like, okay, like this is what's up.
Blew my mind.
100%. And then it's obviously the Stiz trickle down effect where you find everybody else. Yep. And 2020 I start this, but from that point I had only known like got 6 rappers from here, and now just I know, at least I think I know, at least in terms of music, like everybody. Yeah. Whether they're from Brockton, they're from Lowell/Lawrence, Lynn, Roxbury, Dorchester.
The scene is mad, like it's big, but it's right. One person, everybody.
That's the thing, and that's what I love about it, because that's how support, but it's also like making connections and stuff like that, shaking these hands and stuff like that. So that's why I like to hear that you rep where you rep proudly, and that is gonna add to in 10, 15, 20 years when there's people that were your age looking up. Brockton rappers. Yeah. The list is gonna be longer than it was when you looked it up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
That's also why I'm so big on the songwriting and big, because as much as I love, obviously, my priority is myself.
Yeah, of course.
But at the same time, there's nothing that gives me more joy than giving to somebody exactly what they need at that time. You know, because when you think about it, when you write a song like for somebody, you are writing and giving somebody the words that, you know, they can't say themselves. You know, you're speaking for somebody. Yeah. And then seeing somebody be able to tell their own story like the right way with your direction, like that's crazy. You know, giving somebody exactly what they need at that right moment, that's a beautiful thing. And on top of that, it's the effect, it's the butterfly effect after that. Watching them take off and then grow into their own from that, like the whole artist development side of it too. Like that's big for me. So definitely, like, I know, like, I'm 20 right now. I always say by the time I'm like 30, 20, maybe like 30, 31, 29, I'm not trying to be 1, 2, 3, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, I'm trying to be smooth, backseat, and just, all right, you take this, you go. You take this, you go. You take this, you go. I'm going to do what I got to do right now to make sure, you know, I have the resources to actually give back. Of course. But the end goal is to 360 and just create a funnel, you know, because kids from my city don't have access to it. That's the hardest thing with doing music from Brockton is that if you're not tapped in or if you don't know nobody, it's hard to get it in.
Interesting. That's a very good take.
You know,
because, you know, I've kind of thought that way with people who look up Boston music. You know what I mean? Like, just from like the casual viewer's perspective, it's, you know, what do you look up? And I've had that conversation a couple of times where it's a fact. You can look up Boston rapper and, you know, who comes up as first, like Stiz, Millie's, all that. But then it's like after that. Yeah. You know, the hundreds of people after that. How do you find it? How do we find it? You know, and you can't just look up, on YouTube, like Boston rappers that ain't Stiz. You know what I'm saying? Because now you're getting too specific. Yeah. So that's one thing that I've learned starting this, where when I literally started the pod page, right, on Instagram. I follow, you know, a couple people. It's like, all right, follow this guy. Yeah. Then it's that guy. Then it's 5 other people, 10 other people, 20. Mm-hmm. So it's like, wow, it really is just opening your eyes. But I would like for people to not have to do like podding.
It should just be like, you're from Boston, you know what's going on. Exactly. Like, I like how out west, I feel like places like LA or like even smaller towns within California, like when there's a scene, everybody's involved. Like, you know who are the local rappers in each scene. Like, if you were to ask somebody from like a Sacramento, yo, who's popping out here? They would tell you, but they may all have different answers because the scene is that big. I feel like out here you say, yo, who's popping from Boston? We all have the same like 4 or 5 people. Right. You know? But I think that's also, the scene is growing, at least from what I've seen from being a kid to where I'm at now. I'm like, okay, well, the scene is definitely developed because there's more awareness. More people that are my age know about it. I think it's also a youth thing. You know, correct. Like, it's absolutely correct. A lot of people who are in that initial, like that group that you're talking about, are going into their 30s, if not already in their 30s. So that's also a perspective thing, because a lot of kids who are too young to really be a part of that, or to really be fans of that. Yes. You know, so like now it's a big thing where people my age, all right, well, that's another class of individuals to start that whole scene over again. You know, you look at someone like a Nay Speaks, you look like Yana G, someone like that's a whole, you look like Trill Manny. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are people who are younger. So when you talk about someone who's 14, 15, looking up to somebody, it's a little bit easier to relate. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, I can do that because they're not that far removed.
Right. They're not, in terms of age group, they're not really that far off either. Which is why I have to give the SoundCloud credit, a lot of credit as well. I know Devo does his Genius Camp, but I know they do kind of that boot camp thing for younger producers during like school breaks and stuff like that. Yeah. So
that was the most fun thing I've done.
You were part of that. Okay, word. That's what's up. So how did that like develop? Like, did you guys were just like, oh, we're gonna do this for the youth, or was it like
there's a collective of people called the Arts Foundation. Okay. So they ended up coming into the building. So we formed a relationship with them, and then we became a part of that. Just like, all right, well, y'all are having these kids. I'm not sure if they approached us or we approached them, but once we got involved, it was a beautiful thing. Like, getting to sit down with these kids, like, all right, y'all want to make beats? This is how you do it. Like, the light in their eyes, like, yo, here's this. I was like, yo, take my drums. Go ahead. And they're like, yo, this is crazy. I don't even got to do nothing to it. It just hits. I'm like, yeah. Like, that feeling, because I didn't have that when I was 14, 15. I was on YouTube, Reddit, looking up whatever I could find. Tutorials, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, like, so that's big. That's big. Because, again, it creates, you now know on the east side of Boston I can go. and I can go somewhere. I didn't know that. Like if I knew about the lab when I was like 15, 16, oh, I'd be rich. I'd be rich because I found it when I was 18. You know, so I'm like, oh no, if I knew, yeah. So that's big. I think that, like you're saying, like that is how you trickle in the next, because it becomes a cycle.
Right, exactly.
They become the new people, and then they reach out to the younger kids, and so on and so forth.
And these younger kids, they're using their free time from school.
Yeah.
To create.
Yeah.
So it's not it's in a way it's decompressing, but it's
hell yeah.
I've been in that situation before. As soon as February break rolled around, April break rolled around, I was like, thank God, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I had my community center, we went to aquariums and all that shit.
Yeah.
But it's good that they have a consistent place, I should say, to create where, I'm not sure the financials, but they're welcomed. They're like, listen, we're going to teach you. It's not just like, it's just this week and that's it. Because that's what a lot of places are. And
that's a fact.
And I don't like that. Because it's like, you can't quell these kids' creativity. You have to expand on it. You have to jump on it. Because they're going to be, like you said, the next generation after you doing it.
That's a fact.
So instead of just being like, oh yeah, whatever. No. You have to.
You have to.
You know what I'm saying? Take them in, nurture them, make them. Even teach them about the music business, because
that's super important.
Aside of just making beats and all that, it's still a whole litany of business side of things. And I had Rob in here 2 episodes ago, and he was telling me about. He's like, bro, these artists, they're like, do you have a lawyer? Do you got your books right? Is your music catalog protected and stuff like that? And so, which is why I'm thankful that the city of Brockton, in terms of the music scene, is doing that.
Yeah.
They're not just like, oh, here's how you be an artist. It's like this. It's like, no, let's break it down. Let's sit you here for, you got a whole week off of school. It's going to be these type of days where we learn this.
Yeah.
And I got to give it up. You know what I'm saying? I really do.
I appreciate
it's like,
that for sure.
It's something like you really can't hate. And if you do hate it, I don't know. I think you just hate her.
Nah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
We still love you. If you're a hater, we love you.
Yeah, exactly. But going back to your point where, you were talking about these other cities doing community nights and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're slowly getting there. I think the testing lab, I was a part of the panel for the first 5 events of it.
That's fire.
And which I'll always be super thankful for Nova for including me in that. I wish I could have consistently stayed on it, but with school and life, it just didn't work, But having events like that, and then as you said, having these school break, these camps.
Yeah.
That's how we're gonna get the casual viewer.
You create community.
Right,
it
exactly.
Community.
We're good at creating this community.
Yeah.
But let's
involve
right, the other people in that community.
Yeah.
So, but again, what I'm saying, I got to give it up to you in the Sound Lab. It's just been excellent to see. However, one thing that I also did go back and kind of talk to a few people about is you're very hands-on with your stuff too. I've seen you got a lot of production credits on videos and stuff like that, editing and shit like that.
Yeah.
I was talking a little bit with Nicole. She was like, she edits it, you give it to her. You know what I'm saying? So is that something you've always been I'm hands-on with this? It's just I want to have the control. Is it maybe because I know you trust Nicole, but it's other people are you let me do it. You know what I mean?
Because I started off on my own. That's my thing.
Right.
So, and I always, for me, I don't know what it is. I'm like, I have a vision, and I'm big on oral. It's that, or it ain't it.
Right.
So, and initially, the reason that we even ended up working that way was because I came to Nicole. I was like, hey, I need help. You do this, I do this. Let's just. And for me, it's also I respect people's time. So I'm like, I can't expect you to just, I'm just going to shoot everything and edit for you while I have my own stuff. I can't expect you to make me a priority when you have your own thing going on. So for me, it was...
That is a rare thing to find, too.
You know what I'm saying?
So thank you for being professional. Because
it's just being realistic. Because I understand, if somebody came to me and say, hey, can you do this and that for me and this and that? I'd be like, nah, I'm good. You can just keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
So for me, I'm like, if you just shoot it... Because my cousin... You know On One Production?
On One Production.
He had a film company out of
tap in after this. Yeah, 100%.
But he was a co-founder of it. So growing up, I've been around film and editing and shooting. I understand those things, and I would because I had a laptop as a kid, I would mess around with that stuff all the time. So it was nothing for me to pivot that into this. So I was just like, y'all shoot it, I'll edit it so that we can be more efficient. So that way anything we do, I know if we shoot it, I can get it done. I'm willing to, if I have to stay up this whole night and get it done, I'm gonna do it. There's been plenty of videos I put out that it was definitely like we shot it one day and it came out the next day, just because that's how I like to work. I'm definitely a spur of the moment type of person. So
you're on your night owl shift.
Oh yeah,
with a lot of this.
All the time.
That's another thing I gotta respect about artists. I get tired too quick. I can't.
We also wake up later though.
That's true.
That's the other side of it. If you wake up at 9 a.m., you're probably not gonna make it till like 2 or 3.
No, yeah, that's why I don't. I wake up and I go to I'm averaging like midnight going to bed, but 2 or 3 a.m. just straight up working on shit. That's why it's like I salute to you, my brother.
Appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying?
It's part of the life. Yeah.
But one of the reasons why you're here today too, as well, you're promoting your upcoming album. Is it? Do we got an album, or is it still gonna be a couple of EPs?
We're going album. I'm going album this time.
All right. What's up? So, what can people expect from you on this? And this is gonna be your debut album, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah, actually.
Okay. Wow, it's a big. Okay. We stepping up in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions actually.
Yeah.
Firstly, what can people expect from you from this album? It's your debut. It's kind of your coming out season.
Yeah.
And is there a certain message or theme you're trying to convey with this new album?
So
that, of course, you're in the process of right now.
I'm trying to find the right way. Like this whole week has been like, okay, so how can I say it without saying it?
Yeah.
So if you pay attention to the content of the stuff that I talk about, I write songs from the heart.
Absolutely.
I try to be super genuine and forthcoming about how I feel with every song, because I feel like Life, Love, and the Human Condition is probably like most people's favorite songs. When you talk to your parents about what songs do you like, or what I'm saying, the songs that connect with people and stay and resonate with people are those. So this album is, it's all about life, love, and the human condition. You pay attention, there's a whole time theme going on with it, with the 9, 10. I'll put out 11 soon. So we'll see what happens at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily a message, but I am going to be telling a story throughout that project and then the projects to come after it. Yeah, I'm trying to build this whole world around it where, it's just a love story, But also talking about, real things that happen between, because the whole theme is all the things that you think about when you're sleeping at night and you look up, and it's just you in the dark. Like all those things that you think about that go through your mind. That's what all these songs are about. That girl that you could have had, or the girl that you lost, or damn, I was supposed to do this, I didn't do that, where I am and where I'm supposed to be.
You got a little too personal with me right now, bro. No, so I was gonna ask him, like, did anybody hurt you or something like that? 'Cause, listen, I've been listening to the music and it's like, if somebody hurt me like that, I'd be writing like this. You know what I mean?
I think I love hard. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what it is.
That, bro. I do too. You know what I mean?
I grew up in a household where I saw my pops, like how he treated my mother. Like if their anniversary's on a certain date, and every month on that date, he would get her flowers.
Shut up, pops.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain little things, like I seen how he treated my mother. So I'm very big on, all right, well, from a relationship, I'm gonna do this, that, and the third, because this is what I grew up on. But sometimes, whether it's a situation of somebody's not necessarily used to that, or people can be mistrusting of that, because it's like, well, this doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
So, trust issues can oftentimes cause insecurity in a relationship. So I've definitely been through that once or twice.
Yeah.
But I'm also not perfect, and I was young. I started dating young, so I had a lot of experiences, and I did a lot of things I probably shouldn't have done, said a lot of things I probably should have done, so I messed up a lot of situations, or I put myself in messy situations for no reason, just because I'm like, oh, I'm young, and I'm single, and I'm going to just do that, But it definitely it gave me a lot of perspective. That's the biggest thing. So with all these songs, one thing I will say, everything's a true story. I might lie and say it's not, but
no cap in the raps.
Nah, for sure. So yeah, definitely it's all my experiences that I've been through, just telling the story of, from front to back of, like, they're definitely like timestamps, kind of. That's also why I'm going with the time as well. Mm-hmm. But yeah, just life, love, and the human condition for sure. All about love.
Amen to all that, bro. Because, I listen to a lot of oldies.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't say oldies. I mean, I definitely dive into the 60s with the Temptations and just other, because I've been getting into Motown. Actually, if you're listening to this episode right now, the Temptations musical is out in
For
Boston.
real?
And bro, it is excellent. I seen it in New York. I'm a big So I'm a big musical guy.
That's
but
fire.
in the sense of like, I want to see someone's story through that.
Okay.
So I've seen The Temptations. I'm going to see Louis Armstrong.
That's a good one.
In December, yeah, because I seen it, I was like, that's awesome. But my all-time favorite one, and I seen it 2 years ago. Yeah, right. It was 2 years ago. Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah. I was sad I didn't get to see that. I was sad I didn't get to see that.
If they ever come again to Boston, bro, please like just try to go.
I gotta go.
It's just even, and you know what actually would be good too, to listen to the soundtrack from that.
Yeah,
because it's on Apple Music.
I have listened to the soundtrack.
It's just I
It's
was
ill.
so
It's ill.
because Michael Jackson's my goat.
Yep.
Top one, like
Yep.
in terms of performer, in terms of artist.
There will never
that's
be
it.
another one.
Never
There
be
will
another
never be
one.
another
I'm
one.
excited for the movie coming out next year as well, starring his nephew
Yeah.
actually as him.
I'm so scared.
So
I'm terrified.
Oh, all right, I gotta
I'm
know why, though.
terrified because that movie. I'm like, someone as big as that. I feel like pretty much all biopics are always amazing or terrible. I've never seen like a
there's never,
mid.
yeah, there's no in between.
It's either this is the best thing I've ever seen, like the Temptations movie.
Yeah.
Like, was it the 5 Heartbeats?
I think so. I didn't see the movie. I saw the play.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
beautiful movie, front to back, amazing.
Man, it's
and then you
always
have the Aaliyah. The worst thing I've ever seen in my life. Or like the Michael Jackson one with Flex.
Yeah.
No disrespect,
yeah.
no disrespect, but like,
Or the Tupac one with Anthony Mackie is. I was like, ugh.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and that outside the Anthony Mackie was pretty okay, but it's either like really, really good or bad. So I'm terrified for the Michael Jackson one because it's Michael Jackson.
Of course.
And like,
Oh no, that I'm gonna be critiquing that motherfucker like I write for
you know
the
what I'm
Hollywood
saying?
Reporter. You
like,
know what I mean?
playing somebody with that much aura, the dude took his sunglasses off and like, people fainted.
My
Like,
favorite all-time clip of his, he just jumps off the stage.
yeah, he just
like that doesn't move. I don't even know if he's breathing.
Yep.
And you got
Lost their
women
minds.
in the crowd fainting. I'm like, I don't care what like Taylor
my
Swift
God.
does. I don't
No.
care what anybody in this new generation does, bro. It is different like that. I don't care if you even packing out stadiums every single
because
night.
you have to have
You're not doing that.
you have to have platinum records as a 7-year-old.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing. They were about up the Jackson 5.
You know what I'm saying? Like, as a 17, 18-year-old off the wall, then you have to come back 2 years later, create the best-selling album of all time, and then your third album that already sold millions is considered a flop.
Yeah. Imagine
the-
30 million.
you know what I'm saying?
Wow, that's crazy.
Do the fourth, do the fifth, the label not even messing with you. They try to blackball you, you still did it.
Yeah.
And you got Biggie on it.
It's
Insane.
that's why if there's any artist that I would suggest, anyone to go back and listen to just their career, it's Mike.
It's Mike.
It's always Mike.
Mike and Stevie. Stevie Wonder.
Stevie Wonder, yeah.
Stevie Wonder's
Yes.
music, like the songwriting in it, the way he says things. Like, you like Frank Ocean?
Yeah.
Frank is just Stevie.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
Frank is just Stevie.
I agree with that.
Because like they write things in a way where I'll say a literal thing using figurative language.
There you go. That's a
Right?
good point.
Well, he has the song, the first song wasn't the single, but you weren't either. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
wild lines like that.
But that goes back to your point where it's like when you circle back to just writing for people.
Yeah.
Because Frank doesn't drop pretty much.
No.
But guess what he's doing?
No, he's penning them hits.
Exactly. He's putting the pen to paper. So that's why he's making all this money. And
good.
that's why
He's good.
Yeah. You can take that 6-year, 7-year, 8-year break from putting out music because you already got it in the bag.
Nah, for sure.
And that actually is one of the more smarter ways to go about your career if you're talented like that. Though.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You got to
gotta
get
be like
to that
that.
point.
You
You
gotta be
can't
like
just
that.
be like, "Oh, I'm gonna do it." And it's like, no, that's like a point you get to that, and you like work your way to get to.
Yeah.
Because, like you said, Adele, I can't even remember the last time Adele dropped an album or something like that.
It was 2021 or 2022.
Really? She
I
dropped that?
want to say it was it was her last one. I'm not sure she's gonna put another one out. I think it was 2020.
Right. I mean, she's married to Rich.
2021.
She married LeBron's agent too. Rich
Yeah, she's
Paul.
smooth.
Like, you know what I mean? She's cooling with it.
She's
She
nice.
absolutely, she's good. But that is a skill that I feel like artists really gotta hone in and develop on.
You just gotta study.
Exactly.
Honestly, that's my biggest thing.
That's
Study.
it. And study like the craft, but study the people that came before you who did
Facts.
that too. You know
And
what I mean?
still, like, that's the biggest thing. We all do it. And not even that. A lot of the best songs are samples or interpolations. Yeah. So, like, Bad Boy and, like, I mean, we're not going to talk about Diddy, but,
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, their hits were all or interpolations of bigger records. All that production was interpolating.
Right.
They would take this hook from an old
Miami with Will Smith.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I heard that because I don't hear a lot of the songs they sample because my mom, she grew up in that era of music. So when that comes on, I was like, this ain't Miami by Will Smith. I'm like, nah, this is what he sampled.
And back then they would interpolate really closely. Like they weren't even flipping it. It was like, this is the song, just rap on top of it.
Yeah. Or it's like sped up like that much.
Or like Warren G and Regulate with the Michael McDonald joint.
Yes.
Damn near the exact same song, but it's just so. Yeah, just
and
that's a big thing.
Here's a fun fact from my wrestling heads: John Cena's theme song is a sample.
Didn't know that.
The dun, 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 it's obviously a more sped up sample. I forget the song, but it's from like the 30s or 40s because it's when they were in that trumpet.
Big band. It's a big band.
It's a big, exactly. Yeah. It's something to do with a big band, but that. Dun, 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 that's a sample. They didn't come up with that. Yeah. That blew my fucking mind. I was like, no. It almost is like, everything I know is a lie, but it's like,
backbone.
Bro, that's music. That's music.
It's a backbone.
Industry.
I love samples. Like most of the project, there's a lot of it into it.
Actually, and this is a funny story about sampling. I went to a beat competition at the Vault in Lynn that it was a bunch of producers I know. Maki Ocean was there. Devo ended up winning the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
But I remember Devo, he spun a beat to Summertime Madness back home.
You showed me that. Yeah.
I was blown. I was like, whoa. Like that's like, cause that's like, I'm not a big just like listening to beats guy, but when that shit comes on, like that's like one of my favorites.
It's insane. It's insane.
Just type of beats.
Definitely being around him got me more into being creative with my sampling. Like understanding, I can take this and really flip it. Cause I loved sampling. Like that's really got me into production was I was 11, 2016. So when Kanye dropped
Life of Pablo.
Life of Pablo. And I heard the beautiful morning, down in my morning bed. And like that drop, like it was crazy. I find Through the Wire from that because I'm, going backwards. Because I know about Kanye as like a personality, not really like as an artist really. Because I'm young.
Yeah, cool.
So I find like Through the Wire.
And that's one of his biggest hits.
Insane how he spun it and then interpolating the song. Like flipping what she said into using that for the hook of what he's saying. Like insane.
And actually it's funny, one of my first ever rap song that I ever heard as a kid was on the radio. Lonely by Akon.
Yep.
That's a sample.
Lonely,
but
it's so lonely.
It's such like that sample is the original ones, like I think it's from like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah.
It's such a lullaby song. Like it's like literally it's like I gotta sing this as I like drift off the bed.
Yep.
He just flipped it like I was like, wow. And that's really how I came to learn about like just sampling R&B and all that.
It's the best thing. It's the
best
best
thing.
thing.
Is. And it's awesome.
That's where the hits come from.
Exactly. Of course. Well, it's actually, she said it's the best thing. So with Thanksgiving on the horizon, I got to know, what's the one thing you're thankful for, bro? Actually, you know what? Let's get some multiple things there. Because we thankful for a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
I'd say this year, I'm thankful for health.
Amen to that.
For sure. Because, people definitely like pass away young where I'm from a lot. So that's a big thing, like health. I'm thankful for health, definitely. Family's a big thing. It's definitely the only thing that keeps me like grounded. I know I'd be a wild boy if I didn't have like my family around me consistently.
Salute to that.
Let me see. What am I thankful for? Number 3. I'm thankful for love. Thankful for love. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Shout out all my beautiful women out there.
Ladies, we do love you. You know what I'm saying?
If they don't,
as much as society wants me to hate you, I can't hate you.
Hello.
I can't hate you.
If you're not loved, you're loved over here. Right. So thankful for love, for sure. Keeps all of us alive.
Amen to that.
Hell yeah. What about yourself? What do you think?
I gotta say, bro, I'm really thankful for. I'm thankful for everybody I've met along the way. Yeah. I'm thankful to actually put like profile pictures to faces.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Meeting people, hearing stories like yourself and everybody else who I've had on this year. I'm really honestly like thankful for my like other friends, like the people I grew up with, because they didn't do like the creative shit.
Yeah.
And I don't blame people for that. I don't look down on them for that because I'm in no position to. Even if I do something that other people may see as more creative, it's like I'm just not in that position, bro. But through every step of the way, you know, whether they're telling me don't say this, say that before I even come to the crib and like hang out. You know, it's that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'm really thankful for like the city I grew up in, too, the North End, because, you know, I'm thankful that people have identified me with this. You know what I'm saying? So when they see me, they're not just like, what are you doing for work? The first question is, how's the podcast going?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because work's rough right now. You know, I don't have a legit job right now. Obviously I'm still in school and I want to, but, you know, I'm helping my mom out with her biz down Fayetteville Hall. But I'm thankful that people, you know, still stuck around when the hiatus was a thing, because there was a lot of self-doubt during that. If another thing I gotta say I'm thankful for, bro, like you said, my family, my parents, like I'm not really close with like any major aunts, uncles, and like cousins and stuff like that. I know a lot of people like are, and growing up that was kind of like the opposite for me. Like I even saw a family reunion and I was like,
yeah, I've never seen
like,
that.
You know what I'm saying? I was like,
I just. My parents are immigrants, so I totally understand that. It's just like you don't got family,
right? It doesn't really that never really clicked, but like, cause you know my grandmothers are old right now, bro. They're in their 90s. You know, one's almost 100. So it's thankful for being like time with them and shit like that, and like, you know, God forbid whatever happens is having your mom and dad's back and shit like that. The last thing I gotta say I'm thankful for, honest to God, I'm thankful for we grow up in a time of such like awesome like creativity.
Yeah.
And like that's what we like grew up with
too.
So like obviously, you know, you're only 6 years younger than me, but Noel had a great point where, bro, the 90s babies, all they had were just these Cartoon Network shows, these Nickelodeon shows, these video games. And all that stuff's so dwindled down now that I almost feel so bad for like the kids growing up in it, because when we were growing up, you know, it was SpongeBob, Dexter's Laboratory.
Kids were kids.
Like exactly. Like and I feel like that generation's got to get back to that. You know what I mean? It's like that's how they know if they want to be creative or something like that, where they hear the music that like, which is why again I'm thankful that I'm appreciated that you guys are doing what you're doing for the youth. That you can tell you that yo, there's other ways than just wanting to be like a content creator or shit like that. You know, making the slop content. Like no, like put the pen to paper, write some music, produce some beats. Let's hear some drums. It's like that's what it is. So I'm just thankful that the people that I've met have expanded their creativity and are growing how they grow, because well, yes, it's, you know, I've talked to them and I say I know people in the sense is like I know who they are. It's like I don't know them on a deeper level, but I'm thankful that I can listen to their shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can hear the new Samba. I can hear a new Devo, Feed the Family, like, and it's like that's Boston right there, bro.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even gotta say they're from Boston, but still, it's like that's not even Boston. That's Massachusetts, because Brockton ain't Boston. That's Massachusetts. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I gotta say, there's just a whole lot to be thankful for in life than there is. It's
been a good year, honestly. All
really
things considered, like
year.
It's been a wild year. Like now getting Saturday, I'm like, yeah, this was cool. This was cool. Some cool things happened.
Absolutely, and like recently, and this is another message just to people out there. Like, you know, we in the depression times. You know, this season right now, bro. You know, I looked out my window today, 4:00. It was getting
way too dark.
You know what I'm saying? So check in on yourself. Like, you know what I'm saying? Check in on your homies too. You know, your family members. It's like we're all human, and I gotta say, like, a message, or not a message, just a story that kind of like took me back a little, because, you know, I be in my head a lot, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel you, same way.
I go through these mental things, and then like people, like, I tell people this, that like, and they're like, you, like, you know what I'm saying, the podcast dude, it's like, you, it's like me doing this, like, is like, doesn't make me like immune. You know what I mean? I took a class at Emerson that basically was creative thinking. It's like, bro, there's a reason why, like, not even to get dark, the 27 Club's a thing. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? There is. Like, though you look at everyone who's a part of it, bro, they're all some of the best creative minds ever.
It takes a lot, because I honestly, like, because you just think about, like, how much, not, I don't want to say trauma, but how much things you have to go through in order to create so many songs that so many people can relate to.
Exactly.
You know? Like, especially when you're talking about people who make sadder songs, like if they're
said,
doing that consistently.
Life, love, and the human condition.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a young kid, but I've experienced a lot of life.
Right.
So I think a lot of people who get to that level, especially those songs that really hit you, is because, well, that comes from a real place. Yeah. So they're making that consistently. So they're really going through this.
Absolutely. Right.
You know?
This ain't no joke.
Nah, for
it
real.
Really ain't no joke. So at the end of the day, you know, you creative or not, you know, check in yourself, check in your homies, and just know that the world's better with you in it.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I'm going to say. But before we get out of here, bro, obviously we're going to change to a little light side.
Yeah.
You know, we like showing love on this platform. Anybody you want to give a shout out to right now, please do. You know, now's the time.
All right. Shout out my SoundLab family.
Of course.
You know, shout out my brother Devo, Nicole, Jake, Joy, obviously Big 211, you feel me? Kim, Boogie, RX, Con, the whole crew. Shout out my sister, Samba, you know, for holding me down.
Thank you for pulling up today, too, by the way. I don't know if you mentioned she pulled up, but she's in the studio. Always, yes, sir.
Shout out my other big sister, Camila. You know what I'm saying? Shout out my parents. There's so many people I can shout out, but I'm gonna just cut it right there. Shout out everybody who's with me, for sure. Nah, all love. Yeah.
And where can the good people listen to Say That find you for your socials?
My name is Samba. That's SVMBV. So I'm on all socials as Senor-Samba. That's SENOR.SVMBV. My music's everywhere under Samba. Again, that's SVMBV.
And I gotta say, I like how you do the V's because I'm like, that's old Latin. Like if you know, you know. Like, because where my dad used to go to school in the North End, it was the St. Anthony School.
Word.
And the A's were the V's. Yeah. So that's where I was like, why does it say St. Anthony School or something like that? I was like, no.
I wanted to do it just because, like, I was a little narcissistic. I was like, I want to be able to Google myself.
Right.
So
no,
like,
exactly. Hey, I take marketing right now. That's a good way to get
the
yourself.
SEO shit,
that's a good. That's literally my homework. Yep. It's literally SEO. So that's what I gotta go do tomorrow night.
Because Samba, like, that's shoes, a genre, so much other stuff. So like SVMBV, by the time I was like 1 year in, all my stuff's already
there you go.
Up, so.
That's why you gotta give.
Shout out Google.
Right, exactly. Shout out Google. Because on my flip end, that's why I had to add the exclamation point to my podcast, because there is a Say That podcast. That's not me. Yeah. It's a religious one. Yeah. And I'm like, and I actually want to give a shout out to Mike Scarfo because he said they should change it to Praise That instead of Say That. And he's right. It's like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But
one more thing I do want to shout out. Yeah. Shout out to any artist who's allowed me to work with them this year. Y'all the reason I even got that nomination in the first place. Sonali specifically because, you know, she let me work on her album. So that was big. Absolutely. And shout out to anybody who don't like me. Still love you. You know what I'm saying? You keep me great. Thank you.
Exactly. It's all love on this side.
Nah, for sure.
But ladies and gentlemen, that was Samba. You know, make sure you keep an eye out for his debut album coming soon. But more importantly, make sure you go vote for him for Songwriter of the Year at the BMAs. Absolutely. You know, make sure you vote for him. And like you said, his SoundCloud family, which is the SoundCloud. I'm talking too fast. The SoundLab family. You know, the SoundLab for Music Studio of the Year. Devo the Genius for Producer and Album of the Year with Champion Sound. Nicole Da Silva for Videographer of the Year. Yep. CW TFB Radio for Podcast of the Year.
Yes, sir.
Who am I
Testing
missing?
Lab, Music
Testing
Night
Lab,
of the Year.
for night. Yep, absolutely. The Testing Lab for Music Night of the Year. And if there's anybody else I'm missing from there, I don't believe so.
That should be it.
But that should be it. But yeah, those were my picks for those categories. Obviously, there's a bunch of other categories y'all can pick from as well. Yeah. Oh, also to shout out another former, two former actually, Say That guests and, you know, somewhat frequenters of the Sound Lab. Rob Kelly Morgan for Artist Manager of the Year and C4 for Live Performer of the Year. But as always, you can find me on Instagram, REPETE617. That's my personal. And the podcast page is say_that_pod. If you like this video, which I'm sure you did, please hit it with a like and leave a comment about which part you liked about it specifically. And as always, hit that subscribe button on YouTube to help grow this platform further. And as always, you know, you can follow us on Apple and Spotify podcasts as well. But before I get out of here, y'all know my drill. Y'all know the motto. It's going to take off one day, I promise you. Because Matt already is everybody saying it. Don't say this, say that. And we'll see you in the next episode. Peace.